Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, I was aboard ship when we had news that President Magsaysay had been lost. I should like to take this opportunity to pay my tribute to a very gallant man and a great friend of democracy. I'm sure that all the American people feel with President Garcia of the Philippines and his people that we have lost a true champion of the principles for which we stand, and we deeply regret it. There's one other announcement of a different character. As you know, there's been a lot of speculation and talk as to what we should actually do about the Constitution to provide for the case of a temporary disability of a president. I directed a study of this kind to be undertaken a long time ago. It's now come to fruition through it's been chaired by the Attorney General, and very soon I should be sending it to Congress after having a meeting with, I hope, a bipartisan meeting with the heads to see if there's any more suggestions and perfection of the thing before we send it down. I have no other announcements.
Is it possible you could crystallize for us your thinking on this subject just beyond this bare announcement, sir? Could you give us your thinking on this subject?
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Donovan, I don't want to talk too much about its details because first I want to have a bipartisan meeting so as to get the real views of these people and perfect it. I would say in general that one of the great difficulties now existing is this. The reason that a vice president is so reluctant to act in this case is because our Constitution does not provide now whether he would become the president, whether he'd be the acting president, when the president, and how the president would take over again. All of those things are cloudy, and I think just the clearing up of the whole situation will do much to benefit it.
Would you have Mr. Coggan,
I think
talk to INS. Can you tell us generally how you feel about the obligation of any citizen to testify before a congressional committee, and more specifically, whether you think it is proper for the head of a labor union or for any responsible official to invoke the Fifth Amendment to avoid giving testimony?
Well, you know, Mr. Clark, without my telling you, I'm not a lawyer. And so as the legal aspects of this, I know nothing. I do uphold, with all the emphasis I can, the right of Congress to investigate in order to form the basis of legitimate legislation in any field in which the Congress feels it has responsibility. Now, I think the power and the dignity of the Congress in this regard are in good hands, and they will protect that right and execute it faithfully. I personally don't want to comment on the right of a citizen to take the Fifth Amendment because I have no doubt that in some instances it is absolutely a basic safeguard of American liberty, or it wouldn't have been written as the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution, although I must say I probably share the common reaction that if a man has to go to the Fifth Amendment, there must be something he doesn't want to tell. But I think that it's there, and I think that the lawyers have to decide when it's used properly and improperly.
President William McGaffin, Chicago Daily News. Sir, do you feel that there are any economies that you can make in the executive branch of the government to help cut government spending? For instance, would you be willing to do without that pair of helicopters that have been proposed to get it off your golf course a little faster than you can make it in a car?
Well, I don't think much of the question because no helicopters have been procured for me to go to a golf course. Thank you. That's all.
Lawrence of the New York Times. In this study, which the Attorney General has completed for you on the disability question, is it his conclusion that this can be done by statute, or is a constitutional amendment here involved?
I think that there have to be a constitutional amendment, and I believe he thinks so, to do it properly.
Van Linden, the Richmond Times Dispatch. You were speaking a minute ago about the Bill of Rights and the amendments. There is a movement in the Senate to write in an amendment on your civil rights bill to provide for the trial by jury on injunction cases. That was tied in the subcommittee by 3-3. So it looked like it might pass. I wondered if that was written into your bill, whether you would feel that would be a reason to veto it or whether you would sign to move that in.
I haven't discussed it with the Attorney General. As you know, I've been gone for some days, and just having been back, there's a lot of details haven't come up yet. But he hasn't told me whether that'd be a crippling or disabling amendment. I don't know enough about that point. It's a legal point. This gentleman.
President John Hurling, Editor Syndicate. Several weeks ago, you indicated that you would study the question of whether management organizations should establish the same type of codes of ethical conduct such as recently been drawn up by the AFL-CIO. Have you had a chance to study that question, and do you have any opinion on that now?
No, I don't think I could give you one this minute. I've been very preoccupied with other matters for a while, and I'd have to ask a little more time.
Sir, will we be able to have an opinion a little later on?
I'm not sure.